Young and the Restless sees Victoria Newman and Nate Hastings both grieving, and it sure feels like we could be getting a reunion between them soon. The last time Nate and Victoria were together, it was frankly a big old mess because Nate was in a committed relationship when they started up. He was with Elena Dawson, and then he cheated on her with Victoria, who was very hot in pursuit of him. Thanks to Audra Charles blabbing to Elena, she traveled to LA, confronted Victoria, and dumped Nate. Then Victoria started dating Nate properly, and they began a genuine relationship, but it wasn't a high-functioning one. Young and the Restless, the complicated past of Victoria and Nate. The way they started wasn't good because it was based on him cheating on Elena, who's nice. Victoria was flirting with someone that worked for her, which was dodgy and inappropriate. Part of why Nate and Victoria wound up splitting was also down to Victor Newman being so heavy-handed and overly involved in Victoria's life. Clearly, the Newmans are a big obstacle to any relationship that Victoria starts up, but Victor in particular. However, I do think Victoria is also done letting her dad have a say in her love life. She told him to shove it over Cole Howard, and she stuck by her guns. After all that happened, that's when Nate got with Audra, who had been hot and heavy for him for a while before that. Victoria wound up involved with her ex Cole Howard after his crazy Aunt Jordan Howard brought him and their daughter Claire Grace Newman back into Victoria's life. Victoria and Nate's current grieving and possible reunion in Young and the Restless. While Nate was busy prying open Audra's cold heart, who wasn't open to love before, we saw Victoria and Cole making up for lost time with Claire. Victoria and Cole were falling back in love. Now, though, things are changing for both Victoria and Nate. Recently, Cole died after getting Legionnaire's disease. He didn't respond to treatment and lost his battle. Naturally, Victoria is grieving and trying to be there to console Claire as well. One of the first signs of a possible Nate and Victoria reunion came a while back when Cole was sick, and Nate was being very supportive of Victoria and trying to be helpful. Then, when Cole died, Nate headed over right away to console Victoria in her great time of loss. Her family was away in France, but Nate was there for Victoria. Young and the Restless, Victoria comforts Nate. This week, it's Nate's turn to do some grieving and get comforting from Victoria because Lily Winters breaks the news to Nate that Damien Kane was killed in France. Nate is horrified that his newfound brother is gone so suddenly when he and Damien were just starting to really get to know each other. Nate is also going to worry about how Amy Lewis will handle this since she's still undergoing cancer treatment. She's going to be devastated to know that her son Damien is dead and may even blame herself because she's the one who brought him to GC, which was kind of the road he ended up on before he was killed. Nate thought he and Damien were going to have all the time in the world to get to know each other, but they wound up having barely any time at all. Another huge sign of what could be a Victoria and Nate reunion is when and how Nate finds out that Damien died. This week, Nate is over at Victoria's place talking to her and Claire. They're discussing Cole's memorial service and whether to wait or do it because the Newmans are still gone. Lily calls Nate and asks him to step outside so she can speak to him. Nate steps outside to talk to Lily, and even though it's over the phone, she tells him the terrible news that Damien was murdered. She did it over the phone because Lily didn't want Nate to hear it from somebody else before family got to tell him. Victoria is absolutely horrified to hear that Nate's brother died, and she's comforting him on Young and the Restless. Victoria and Nate are grieving these two losses at the same time and doing that grieving together because they are true friends. They are a genuine source of comfort for one another. All that grief bonding feels like groundwork for a reunion between Nate and Victoria. Of course, it won't happen right away because Victoria's grief over Cole is very fresh and she'll need time to grieve, but I can see Nate really helping Victoria through that,